Closing out a week, we want to get to a little boxing with our lead boxing writer on Yahoo. That's Kevin Iole. Kevin, interesting fight announcement. I don't know about this one. I like one of the fights on the card. I like Robert Guerrero and Michael Katsidis coming up in Vegas. But I got to tell you, I question number one the matchup between Erik Morales and Marcos Maidana, and the validity of it being a main event fight.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, the Guerrero Katsidis fight I think is a main event fight. So to me, that's your main event right there. Very interesting fight with that one, and I think you got to give Golden Boy credit. That's that's a good fight. Erik Morales. So I am sorry. I am sorry. It does not belong in a main event, and I just don't get this one. I spoke to the Golden Boy Oscar De La Hoya on Wednesday about it, and he said that they had long talks with Erik Morales, and that Morales believes that the layoff did him very well, and that he's back. And he pointed out that he's won 3 fights. He's 3-0 since a comeback. He was off, 2.5 years. So they feel like the time away did him good, and that he's ready to compete in this division. It scares me. I remember 2006, and then again in 2007, I wrote Erik Morales needs to retire. After that second time against David Diaz, he in fact did step away and took that time off. And I don't think the type of fighter Erik is that you can come back and fight at a high level. Kind of a nerve-wracking fight to watch. Erik's a good guy and has been a real good guy and a good ambassador for the sport of boxing for a long time. And you hate to see him in against a guy that he's so apparently overmatched against. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen. Maybe he's found the fountain of youth, but God bless him if he has. But I think it's a tough fight for him, and it's a really tough fight to me to sell as a main event.
Well, I think that's the scary part. It's scary putting Morales in against any high-level guy. We're not talking about a guy who's going and pecking and pawing at him and trying to win a points fight. Marcos Maidana swings to knock your head off. He is a dangerous guy. I mean, when I first saw the announcement, I was like, wow, this is really risky for Morales to get in there against someone like Maidana. He's nasty.
Yeah, Maidana is a huge puncher. I mean, he's a big puncher for 154, let alone for 140. And we saw him fight Amir Khan, and Amir did a good job boxing the first 8 or 9 rounds, and then Maidana caught him in the last couple, and nearly came back to steal that fight. Maidana can be handled by boxers. But if you stand in front of him and you bang and trade with him, you're in trouble. And what is Erik Morales' stock and trade? He's going to be right there, and he's going to be, firing and trading punches. I think this is a very, very risky fight. And if you told me that, hey, Erik Morales is healthy and blah, 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 I'd still think it was a dangerous fight for him, just because his style, I think Maidana's a much bigger puncher, and his style, I wouldn't like it. But now when I know he's been shot for 3 or 4 years, boy, that scares me.
I don't want to disrespect older fighters, and we're not trying to disrespect Erik Morales, but I'm going to say the same thing about Winky Wright. I don't think it's a safety issue. I'm kind of wondering who was asking Winky Wright to come back.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see any big call, in the fandom for him. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on. I think sometimes some of these guys in boxing feel like, the sport owes them another payday or whatever, and that they can just go out and collect a big check. And, maybe there was a time when that was okay, but you know what? Now, with this economy, with people working so hard for their money and people struggling to get by, you really got to ask the fighters to fight to earn your money, and the promoters to put the kind of cards together. And what's this? Winky's another one. I don't have the same kind of fears about Winky that I had about about Erik Morales and Marcos Maidana, because I think Winky still has a little bit left in his game. But still, it's Winky hasn't been around. We don't know what to expect, and he's in the co-main event.
We have any idea what these guys are getting paid?
I haven't seen the numbers yet, but I guarantee you that Winky Wright's not coming back to make $25,000.
So we spent a few minutes kind of downgrading the first 2 fights, and the sad part is the main event fight really should be Guerrero and Katsidis, because there's no doubt in my mind this will be an action fight and probably will have a finish, and if not, it'll be a war that goes down as a fight of the year candidate. This is a can't miss.
I think it's a terrific match. I really do. I think Guerrero and Casillas, uh, you can make a lot of case for this being a fight of the year type fight. We thought the Donaire Montiel fight would be fight of the year type fight, and Donaire was so impressive that he prevented that. Broke a bone in Montiel's face with his performance. I think this fight with Guerrero and Michael Katsidis coming off the loss to Marquez, it's going to be an action-packed fight. This is going to be a fight that I think people are not going to want to miss. It's going to be weird. This may be the reverse of the typical Las Vegas pay-per-view card, Steve. Most of the Las Vegas pay-per-view boxing matches, we see a very late arriving crowd. They show up midway through the co-main event to watch only the main event. This is going to be one where if we see a lot of people in the building for that fight, for the Guerrero-Katsidis fight, then we're going to know there's boxing fans there because they know, hey, this is the fight on this card to watch.
I want to address that, the pay-per-view aspect. Is Erik Morales a big enough name, and are there enough Latinos out there who will buy the card to make this actually a pay-per-view success?
I think it's very problematic for it to be a success. Erik Morales was one of the most popular fighters when he was out there. He had a very strong Hispanic fan base. He was a very good draw in the Southwest. What are the Mexican people, the fans that really supported him, the Mexicans and the Mexican Americans, what do they believe about where he is right now? I tend to think that they're not buying him as a potential 140-pound champion anymore, and I think that's going to make it difficult to sell this pay-per-view. The one thing about pay-per-view, it's the most democratic form of television because if you like it and you want to see it, you buy it. If you don't like it, you don't think it suits your taste, suits what you want, you just walk away and you don't get it. Nobody's forcing you to do anything. And so Golden Boy's saying, here's what we have. Oscar is planning to rely on the fact that he's going to get a strong Hispanic buy with both Maidana and Erik Morales at the top, and I think he's tried to put that Guerrero Katsidis card on there. Trying to convince people who maybe aren't so sure that they're crazy about seeing Erik Morales back to do it. What the heck they think they're going to get out of Winky Wright on the card is beyond me. Macklin is a pretty good fighter, but good young prospect. I think a guy that that could be entertaining. But Winky's not a guy that I think is going to sell a lot of pay-per-views and bring a lot of eyeballs to it, and he's going to command a lot of money. So it's an interesting card they put together.
All right, Kev, we'll check in with you after the weekend. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Steve.